So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live show with live people. It's recorded for Ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I'm working in the Derwent Graphik line of painter pens. And these are 0.5, so they are quite fine to draw with. I'm a bit rough with them and I end up blobbing quite a lot of them. But I've had two kind of mistakes with them, and they've been kind of happy mistakes. So the first one, I had a blob while I was colouring this one. I had the pen in front of me and it blobbed down, and so I coloured this one in, and then because there was quite a lot left, I coloured this page. And actually that took me on to another section of inks and how far you can go with them. And because I love this, and I got all these gorgeous colours, shades and tones from one pen, that gave me the idea to do other things and use it in my Inky Butterfly. So I was having a practice, and I was having a play, and I had another blob, and the blob was there, and I thought, oh gee. So what I do is I tap the pen upside down, and then I hold the pen, and I actually held it over, I'm just looking for this one, I held it over the page, so I had some little spray. I will find it eventually. And as a tight Yorkshire lass, I couldn't throw it away. So I thought, okay, I've done it in blue. Let's pick a page and oh my goodness, I can't find it now. I was also playing in that one. That's Graphik Tint as well. Sorry, Graphik. Derwent Graphik liner pens. And the same technique, which I'm going to show in a minute. So you can get some beautiful pale pastel colours from these vibrant ink pens. Now it's not a watercolour, but what it does is if you use it in its wet form by adding water to it, you can use it as a watercolour. So my purple blob became a purple butterfly. So all this ink on here was used with my #1 Derwent water brush. I'll show upside down. But I absolutely loved doing that. So because there was still paint on the blob and on here, I was picking up colour from the blob, because I'll show you if it happens, it's bound to happen, and I was colouring it in, and I was using my #1 Derwent water brush because that's the driest. So I better pick a page open in case I have another blob. Right, so if I have a blob, we'll be doing that one. I do tend to use my Daydreams book as a bit of a tester. The other thing I'm doing is, because I want to use this for my Joanna Basford's Inky Butterfly, I'm making notes of colours that I put together that I kind of like. So one of them was this one. So this was my first play, and I really haven't quite got how I want to get. So I picked this particular page, and I found that I quite liked some of the colours. So I've got a purple and a blue, I've got a green and a purple, and I've got an orange and a greeny blue. And I really like this, and this is what gave me the idea of how I want to colour the Joanna Basford. I've got lots of different methods in lots of different books, but I love the idea of colouring the Inky Butterfly with inks. But you can also get pale colours. So this is the technique I'm going to be using in a minute. And there is a video on this, but unfortunately Alfie backs all the way through it. So he's ruined it. So we can get really vivid colours, and we can get some soft pastels, and we can actually mix colours together. So although I've only got 20, I got the full set of 20 colours. They're about £60 from Derwent, but I've seen them in Cass Art for 44. So there's a lot of colour combinations, and there's a lot of colour mixing, so I might be doing quite a bit of that. And the idea is to take this around with me when I take the Inky Butterfly book. It's either that or Derwent watercolour pencils. I haven't decided. So I've got a baby wipe, and I've got a little ceramic dish. So when these dry, they dry like an acrylic ink, a paint. That's it, you've ruined it. But I'm not going to use it like that. I'm going to try and just, now you've got to keep them upright. So instead of drawing, I'm just going to do a little bit of a circle. Even when you first get them, you have to shake them. Now if you push down, you'll get a blob. But as you can see, that's quite clean. So I'll show you the technique. And you've got to be fairly quick because these will dry. So I've got my Derwent water brush, twist so it's just barely damp, and take a bit of colour. And then we can kind of swish some colour in. And then, of course, the brushes, now I've got quite a dirty colour now because I've mixed them together. But I kind of wanted this bit of inkiness. Now what you can do is you can squeeze water. Oh, that's far too much. It's far too much, but and you've got a very pale wash. That's far too much, that, so I have to try that again. So I'm only just practicing with these, and I like the fact I don't waste much. So I think I might change the brush for this particular page because it's a bit smaller. So I've got behind me. So I'm just kind of gently scribbling. Can't push down with these pens because if you push down with the pens, you'll get a blob. So I've got a water pot. So I'm doing exactly the same, just twisting to a point, and that's not going to work. So I'll pick this one. Put that bright orange down there, and then I am going to clean the brush. It breaks my heart to do that. I am going to clean the brush, and then the damp brush is going to pick up. So you can get some pale blues here. Pick the orange up as well. And that way you don't get the mucky colour when you mix them, or you can optically mix them. So we can pick that one up. And then we can pick the blue up. And we can grunge the blue up a bit. The other thing, if you put a little drop of water, and I mean not as much as this, but just a drop, you get some really nice pastel colours. So I'm just going to move my water pot so I can actually physically get to it. Put all those brushes away. that away. This is a bit of a smaller space, and I think the Joanna spaces are smaller, so this is why I want to pick it smaller. So I like that one. So I'm just going to put 11 and 3, and that's up there anyway, so I know that that works. I'm going to keep the orange, but I'm going to change the blue to number 10, and it's a bit greeny, is that one. I'll put that one over there. So again, because I haven't used it before, it's going to... So I'll zoom in now. You've seen the technique. You have to give them a little bit of a shake because there's a ball bearing in there. And then we'll zoom in and you can see it. So you've seen the whole process. You need some clean water. And because I'm using all the ink on the page, I expect that my water is going to look like that. Because that means that every tiny drop of paint, because it's expensive, is going on my book because I'm a tight Yorkshire lass. So 2 colours, a pen and a notepad and a little ceramic dish. Now yesterday, this is what I was using yesterday. I had a little pot of water. So we'll go back to that. In fact, I can do this and then I can show you exactly what I'm doing. So I do need the baby wipe. That little pot's quite handy. So how I was working yesterday is I was dropping the ink on the side. So I'm going to have a brush to clean and a brush to pick up water. So you always want 2. This will be the dirtiest, and then you can dunk in there and then you use the colour. And you need to do that if you've got oils, water-based oils, acrylics, watercolour. You need 2 pots. One pot is always dirty to clean your brush, the other one is to pick up clean water to start your next colour, and then you'll never contaminate your colours. So I'll leave these 2 brushes. So I've got a Royal & Langnickel number 4 round, but it's round but it has a point, and then I have my liner Daler Rowney 10-0, and that's quite nice for some small spaces. Now I was using that last night, so just have a bit of a play. This is a good technique if you're away, and I want to get to this stage, but I haven't practiced enough with the this is just a colour guide. I want to get the colours right. I've got the technique, I now need the colours right. And this is why I photocopy pages, so that you can have a good play. This is a product I've had a year or so, maybe more, but I've never played with them properly. I've only had one go and they got on my nerves because I kept blobbing them. But now I want to use them because I've got this inspiration that I want an inky kind of effect. So I've gone back to them. Instead of buying new inks, which I was quite tempted to, I was watching YouTube on inks, and then these came up and I thought, well, I've got these, so I'm using something that I already have, but I'm using them in a different way. So this isn't how you're supposed to use these paints. This is my interpretation, because I want to use inks in a colour book on a page, and I don't want it to go through. And most inks would go through, but this one hasn't. But I am watering them down. So a little quick shake and then they're ready. So I'll zoom in and we'll do a butterfly, a flutterfly. So when I first bought this book, I was quite disappointed with it. So it's the Graphik Liner Painter 0.5, number 3 and number 10, and they have strange names. So this is called Billy and this one is called Tom, but I've just put numbers down. And all I'm doing is literally, you've got to hold them upright and you can draw lines with them, and you can use them on watercolour paper. There's lots of YouTube videos. If you go on the Derwent website, there's some fabulous artists using them. But I want to keep that silver. I don't want a blob. So just scratching a bit of colour. And the good thing is, you could probably do quite a few colour books with this method. and you're not wasting anything at all. So I've got the baby wipe. So I'm just going to use this brush because this is what I used last night when I practiced. So again, I'm going in there, a damp brush, and you've got to be quick because they'll dry. When they're dry, they're ruined because it's an acrylic ink. So I've got some colour in there, just want a bit of blue. And they kind of mix together on the page. So we can have kind of pale colours. I'm going back to switch to the other brush because I think that was slightly better. So there's quite a lot of dampness on there. So you've got to be a bit careful with your page, but then we can get this blue in there. So this particular brush is obviously holding just enough water so we can get a lovely soft. So we've gone from the traditional true colour to a lovely soft muted colour. And if you add a drop of water, what this does is it keeps this for longer. If you leave it neat and it dries, you can't reconstitute it. It's not a watercolour. But if you add a drop of water to it, you can. So for inking the butterfly, I want some of these colours. I like these, but I might want some of these. So that's why I'm testing these. And what I'm doing is seeing how light they'll go. And I can mix these together. And I've got another green. I've got a gorgeous green that I wouldn't normally have. So I've got very cool pale colours, and I've got these colours, and this is slightly different. So that butterfly is slightly different to that one. But I want this wonderful inky kind of thing. So I'm going to try. I like the orange, but I'm going to try a different blue again. This one is number 9. So I can write down 10 and 3 and tick it because I quite like it. And there's a little bit of ink there, but I've not wasted any. And again, tight Yorkshire lace, I like this. So I've not used this number 10, and this one's called High. And again, it's silver, so I haven't blobbed it yet, but there is time. If you push down, when you first get them, you push down, but if you push down for more than 2 seconds, you get a blob. So if you wanted to use them in the normal way, again, that one's all right, you could do that. The other thing I could do, just to keep it going a bit longer, is just add a touch of water. And that's going to just give me extra time. So a damp brush, twisted on a baby wipe. And now we want another butterfly. So I have this butterfly here. So I'm going to go in with the orange. And I want it a little bit weaker than that because I want that gorgeous grungy orangey colour. And then pick some of that blue up. So that's quite nice because I've got the same colours, but we've got the pale version and we've got the richer colour. And then push them together and practice the colour. So again, I've got a nice grungy green. So again, you can take this colour to almost nothing to get, that's almost a flesh tone. So I've got a bright orange and a bright blue, but I've got a flesh tone. Because it's a warm flesh tone, some of these will be quite nice. Look at your water, absolutely clear. And you know that every scrap of paint has gone on the page and not in your water pot. Your water pot should be clear when you've finished. Oh no, V, they don't spill. You keep them flat. I think you're supposed to store them flat. So that's why I've put them in my Derwent art bag tray. And they've got caps on so they don't spill. It's just, I tend to be a bit rough and I blob some sometimes. So we've had number 11 and we've had that. I might just try this one now. So this really kind of, this is Tom. There's a clockwork. I think I'll try clockwork. So this one is number 2, clockwork, and it's obviously clockwork orange. And this is the one I had a blob, but I've cleaned it. And when it blobs, I catch the blob. So I'm always going to use these with a plate, and it's going to be a shiny ceramic one because it dries like an acrylic, so it won't come off. But it will come off a shiny plate. And I tap like that if I make a blob, and then I just use the colour. Now probably I am going to make a blob, and you can see that from a mistake you can do some really nice things. So I've shaken this a bit, so again I'm not going to push down, I'm just going to draw a little circle of colour. And this one is number 10, Billy. So damp brush, draw it across backwards, you baby wet, twisting to a point as you go. So that's perfect. It's damp and it's to a point. And I'm just going to touch the yellow, and we'll do this little one down here. So you can see, and I'm going to start messing about so you can see all these gorgeous colours. And then we've got this kind of strong turquoisey green. Pick up a little bit of colour, not much. Sorry, but a drop of water. So we've got a strong colour now. Oopsie, we've got a strong colour. I'll just do this here because I'm practicing a watercolour effect on a thin page. Now that did pick up a bit of green, so we put this together. Look at that gorgeous green. So I now know that an orange, this particular clockwork, will make a nice green. So we can, without using it, not going to waste it, I'm just going to go keep going round and round. And you probably pick up most of it without adding more water. If you do, just put a touch. So that's gone to nothing. So there's hardly anything on my plate. The brush is clean. And when I put it in the water, there's nothing there. So that means that every scrap of colour I got out is on my page somewhere. And if you didn't want to do it on your page, then have some cheaper paper kicking about, or a scrapbook. Some people have a sketchbook, a rough sketchbook, and if you do all this kind of thing on your sketchbooks with all your spare paint, then you'll have some fantastic backgrounds. Now I did work a bit wet there, but there's nothing on the back of that at all. And this is an ink. If I used it neat, it probably wouldn't like it. So I'm going to move this slightly because you can't really see a butterfly that I'm doing, but you've got the general idea of what I'm doing. So I'm going to this time use these two colours next. So we've got number 7, Rain, and we've got Minted, number 12. So a couple of shakes, and if you're very careful and you use them upright, you can do lines and throw water on them and do all sorts of things if you're using them. Now this is the one that flooded. So you can see there is a little bit of colour, but not much. So I don't want to flood that one again. So dunk the brush, twist in a baby wipe and pick the mint up. So I'll put that mint on this butterfly. And of course you use bigger amounts if you use a bigger space. But because this is a damp brush, so I could have probably put a little bit more there, but again this is now going to a soft pink. You can't tell that the mint is actually on there, but it is. So I put a little bit more on because I kind of like these two colours. If you tap, you will get colour, but you may also get a blob. And you might think it's a fiddly way to work, but you are using inks in a colour book. So again, I'll pick up this colour and I'll do this butterfly here. So picked up that drop of water, pick up the mint. So it's a lovely soft colour, and go back, and I've got a little bit of mint in there and it's just dulled the purple a little bit. Now these are lovely soft, almost watercolours, but I'm using inks. And I might just try, it's bound to blob this one because it's a blobby. If you can see, I have a lot of colour. It's blobbed but it hasn't come out, but it's all over that nib. So what I'm going to do is just move that and put, oh, first of all I need to just colour the snail in a bit. I'll show you what I'm doing in a second. I just don't want to waste that because I'm a tight Yorkshire lass. So I'll show you what I did with it in a second. Right. I don't know why this one's misbehaving, but that's better. I don't think I've cleaned all the gunk off them when you get new paintbrushes. So I've got this one to a point. So I shall put that on there and I'll slide that across. Now I wouldn't hold it over your work, I'd hold it over there and just touch, and you'll see what you can do with this. This brush isn't staying wet enough, so I'm going to change in a second. I did get a little bit of colour out of that brush then. So this is what happened last time. So what I do, although, oh, gee whiz. Sorry guys, Bungle knocked all the paintbrushes off this morning. He thinks these are fantastic things. So I've got my number one Derwent water brush. So it doesn't need wetting, it just needs the baby wipe because it's going to be permanently wet. So I'm going to touch this and I can tell I've got quite a lot on there. So it's going to be quite strong. So you can work around things and then touch them more. I'm not touching the nib, I'm just picking up colour that's already come out. So if we start there, I mean, look at these gorgeous soft pinky purple colours. These are a bit bigger spaces than I had before, but it'll be fine. And this is what you can do if you get a blob, so you don't panic or throw it away. You just use what's there, so that can be quite dark in there. Where it wants to be really dark, you start first. Oops. And then you can go somewhere else. We want a small space, so I shall go to a small space, which will be this little door here. So again, I knew I didn't have a lot of colour left because I've used it for there. And from this, I found the most magical way to colour. And I've got a pale colour now. I can touch there, and it's a bit stronger. Then I can kind of move away. Now, last time it blobbed, it was all down here, tons of it, and I didn't want to waste it, so I literally washed the end of the pen with, I mean, look at that lovely soft shadow effect. Sorry, my pen was right in the way, I do apologise for that. So you can do something like this. Now there wasn't such a bigger blob as before, but I can make sure that this is going to be completely clean now. And again, this is quite a nice, soft way to work. And we can get to the edges again and make sure that we've got all this paint off here. So I haven't touched the nib really, and I'm still getting all this colour. And this is what I did when I had the blob last time, because I don't want to waste all this. I'm not going to put the cap on, and it will dry, so I just kind of went through, and if you think you're getting nearer the colour that's about, go somewhere else. So I want to clean this nib, so now I'm going to go on the end of this one then. And if you think this one's not dark enough, we could darken that one up and leave the door light. And again, this is a very, very quiet way to work. And it's by accident. It was purely because I'd dropped a boo-boo and pressed the pen in. So if I turn that slightly, I can do this. And then I know that that's not silver, so I know there's some on the end of there. So I can start on this one and it's darker. And this brush has the consistency of a marker. So it's a perpetual marker, which is perfect. It's not too wet and it's not too dry. It's just perfect. And I'm going to keep, I don't think there's anything down here, but I'll keep touching it to see if what comes off. I think there's quite a lot. Oh, there wasn't that much, but there's enough to go around. So this wasn't a major blob, because the major blob gives some very dark purples that you just kind of work about. So that's just about managed to get a very, very soft, almost impossible colour. You can just tell the colour difference. And this is because I am a tight Yorkshire lass, and the colours that I buy, I want to go on my colour book and not be wiped away. And I could possibly get the whole of this page done just with this. You keep thinking, because it's an ink, there's just so much of it. There is just so much of it. And that's all I'm doing. I'm not even touching the tip. I am cleaning the brush with this brush, and I'm picking up all this yummy colour. Just want that a bit stronger. So never think you need to throw your things away or wipe anything. Don't ever wipe anything with a tissue, because you can have a wonderful effect. And if you can get this to work with one colour, then your pages will look good because you've had a practice. I have a lovely shadow effect from light to dark there. And all I'm doing is just picking up more colour. It's not going to be quite as good as the other one because I had, as I say, a big blob to work from. This, I'm just picking up some colour from. But normally you would just wipe that with a tissue and wipe all this beautiful work away. And all you would think of is this rain colour named pen is dark purple. But it isn't dark purple. There's thousands and thousands of colours here. It's nearly clear and you can see it's getting cleaner. It's almost there. But because it's an ink, it's very strong. And again, I had this idea to do the inky butterfly in monochrome. So we've got most of our windows out of that. And again, because there's only 20 colours, you can mix 20 colours to make thousands of other colours. But you get a really nice soft effect. And if you want some more dark, just go touch that. So I just show you what can happen. And I quite like working like this. And this was just an accident that I blobbed my purple pen. And I'm still getting quite a lot of colour off it. And because it's damp, it's not drying out. If it had dried out the pen, it wouldn't have come off. I couldn't do this in 10 minutes. I have to do it now. But we'll just see just how much colour we've got off this pen. I'm not sure what they tell you to do when you have a blob. They do tell you what to do on the website, but I don't think there's any down here, but we'll have a look. I don't think there is. Oh, there was a bit. There was a bit of ink down there. So we'll just concentrate on this bit now and see if we can do these. Oh, we've got dark again. You would not believe how much colour there was on the end of this one, which you would have thrown away. And you're practicing your brush skills. You are learning what you can do with a colour from light to dark. So when I did the butterfly, and it was this pen that did blob, oops, I've missed one there. Look, I missed one there. So we'll go up here, we'll do this roof. Sorry about this, guys, but I really want to show you just how much you can do with a mistake and not waste the paint. If you'd have wiped it clean, so I'm going to do this one next because I want these to be different. And then when I come back to this one, it should be slightly paler. They should be paler. They're very pale. And then that should be the palest one. So I've managed to get a highlight on that, and I've not done very much. So I'm going to go over this. So the little white ones I've got a tiny bit. And now when I touch this again, I'm going to pick up strong colour. So very carefully, it's going to go around the toadstool. And it's quite strong, this one, so I'm going to go right round. And I'm going to do that one and that one and that one. And then when I go back up there, it's quite pale. And because I want pale here, and not like the watercolour, this is not going to run. This is all set now because it's an ink. That should be strong, so we can do that one. Come here, please. No. No. Come here, please. Oh, sorry guys. Right, so where was I? I was still doing this. There's still some colour on there. So I'm going to do that one first. I don't think you can count how many. I go back over here and it's paler. I mean, you can brush it across, but you can't do it if it's just wet. And then that's the lightest one. So I'm going to go a highlight. If you didn't want it that light, You could do it down. Now we've nearly done this. It's nearly clean now, and it's probably dry because I had to run after the dogs. I think actually I don't know. I think that's dark. Yep. You can just keep going until you completely fill your book. I think I might actually finish this page. And normally, as I say, you would just wipe your brush with a tissue and all this colour would have gone. But I would never have found out about these gorgeous pale pinks, dark pinks, purples and dark purples, because that's what we've got at the end. You've even almost got a flesh tone there. You've even got possibly a flesh tone blush. I was really amazed. I got 2 pages. Now I think I touched the nib there, but again, you could just work with the nib if you wanted. You could get this colour out and work with the nib. Got to be careful not to work too wet because it's a colour page. And you can be as fiddly or as free as you want. This will not move now. It doesn't matter how much you rub it, it will not move. So again, it's a colour book, so I've got to keep away from that really. And then I'm just going to colour those in pale. Fill that one in. So in theory you could do a watercolour wash of pale. Now I'm not going to touch it again, I'm just going to see if I can just get some off there. Yeah, it's clean as that now. So I'm going to finish that. So I did just dunk that onto there. So that's what I've wasted. And there is a little bit left on here. You could have probably finished the whole page. I could have probably finished the whole of that page, but I want to do the other page of butterflies really. But just very quickly I thought I'd show you that. So we've got, I'll just pan out really quickly and show you what I did with wasted paint. So there's half of that page coloured in. And some of them are quite nice darks. So we'll go back to what we were doing. And I can shut the book, it's all dried that very quickly. There's a bit of a trail. So back to our butterflies. So I was using mint. Oh, I'm going to put that one away now. We've done mint and purple, and we've done orange and green. So if I look at my other colours, orange, and we've got purple and mint. There's a red and a blue there, and a red and a purpley blue. That's quite nice. So have a look at that one. So we'll have herring, which is number 4, and we'll try that with high. Oh, I've tried that one. We've got a darker one. What's that one? That one's called Brilliant. So it's obviously Brilliant Blue because these are named quite strangely. Has anybody got any questions? So again, a little bit of a shake, and then we want a circle of that colour. And this one isn't very clean because this is the other one that I had a blobby with. This is the one that I did the little girl on the bit in Hannah Carlson's. So I'll have a little go with my water brush, see how we do. So again, we've got a pinky red colour here and a blue. Take the blue to be very, very pale. Oops, sorry guys. And then touch of the pink to pink it out. So we've got a very pale version, or we've got a darker version. So we can just play about with this colour. And this looks almost like an ultramarine, so again, this is kind of a technique. And then because the touching, you've got a really nice colour, so I'll mix those together. So we've got a grungy colour now. Look at that grungy purple. It's a reddy purple, but that's almost like a carmine. So I've just made burnt carmine, I think, because it looks a darker purple. And so I can write in my little book I can write number 8 and number 4, a tick because I like it, and then I can put burnt carmine. Mixed. So that means that I know that I can use these two gorgeous colours together. But it means that if I want to mix them together, I'm going to have like a burnt carmine, which is a reddy purple, but a darker colour. So I've done that one. And that's how I made yellow ochre by mistake once as well. So you can always, this is how you find how your colours work. So I like that. I like the red. I like the blue actually. So I might try. I might try this colour. This is number 2, Clockwork. Oh, I've tried that one. Another one. Possibly try it with pink. I don't know what this is going to do. So a quick shake, and I wasted a tiny bit, but next to nothing really. So we've got the pink one and we've got the blue. So we've got 8 and 6. We've got tickled pink and brilliant blue in theory. I'm going to use the water brush because it's just ready wet. So we want a pink, and we have a butterfly, see, over there. So I'll put the pink on the ends. It's a really nice pink. Put some blue in there. So that got mixed a bit, so that was quite nice. So it's a purpley French ultramarine and a pink, and then if you can mix them together, although I might just do that because I might just have a real nice pink and the blue, and then when you mix what's left together watered down, you've got a purple blue. So I like those two together as well. So it's the pinky blue, the purple blue. So I can write those two down. Number 8 and number 6 with a tick. And we've just made a nice purple, but I don't need to know that. It's the burnt carmine that I kind of like. It's one of my favourite colours. And we'll turn that over and see that there's nothing much is happening on the other side. It is a damp page, but again, that's dried now. It's all dried. So you're working quite dry. It does, V, doesn't it? V says, maybe think about doing the butterfly differently every time. And that's what this book did. All this is prep for doing this Joanna Basford's Ivy and the Inky Butterfly, because I want it to be quite unusual and different from my other colour books. So I wanted to play with inks. I like the idea of inks with the Inky Butterfly, and have these kind of gorgeous, gorgeous colours, and mixing two together to almost get a third colour. I mean, this is bright orange, but that is definitely a grungy green, because it's made with those colours. And remember, it's how much water you put, how much you dilute, which colours you put together, and how wet your brush is, and how big your space is as well. You've got all these things to think about. So I wanted to have a play with doing different butterflies. I'm not sure if I like this one, but I do like that one. And I like this other one with the mint, with the greens. I like this one. But I do have a reference now. Because this isn't, it's just a first page of a colouring book, I can tear this out, fold it up and put it in the back of the Joanna book. I've got colour reference. Oh, V says, I took ages to decide. Yeah, I've been like that. I've been 3 or 4 days thinking, how on earth am I going to do it? I still may do it with the Derwent watercolour pencils, as a fine kind of painting. I haven't decided yet. But I wanted to play with these. I do like the idea of these vivid inks being used quite pale. So let's have a look. I've done purple. Have I done purple and I've got this green. I'll try these two colours. Just a couple of shakes. So we've got Blood, which is number 15. And actually it seems to work well with a damp wiping it. So look, it spreads, and this is what happens when you use water, so that's what they're designed for. So I've wiped that with a baby wipe. You see how the colours are running? That's how you're traditionally supposed to use them, with lots of water. But obviously, me being awkward, I want to use it in my colour book. Obviously, I did so many trial photographs. This is what you have to do if you want to make a good job, because there's no point starting it and then going, I really don't like that colour. Why did I pick it? If you've done a bit of a colour swatch first and had a bit of a play, you've already done all the hard work. So again, we've got this blood red and vibrant colours. So I'm playing about. You don't have to use a pattern, I just thought I might do. And then I'm going to put these together, and that's a grey-green for a shadow. It's a beautiful colour. In fact, I think I might like that on a butterfly. I love this colour that I've made with 2 others. And it's going into a green-grey now. and again almost to nothing. So when you clean your brush on your baby wipe, it's empty. I've just got to decide what colour to put in there. I think I might like... I've used number 4, haven't I? So let me write that down. That was number... Oh, that wasn't pink. That was blood. Oops, that was blood and Billy. Because there's no way I'll remember. I shall find it by accident, but actually I don't want to do that. Tick it because I like it, and then it makes a grey-green, dark, which I quite liked. So I'm going to put a bit of pink there. And this is how you can play. You can watch TV and do this. So I've got this grey here. I'm going to put a pink in, but I'd like to have watered it down and done a soft pink. Yep, again, these colours are quite nice together. So it was a bright pink, but I've now dulled it down. So I don't like that one, but I like this one here. This is quite nice. Yes, could I have a coffee, please?
Yeah.
If you just do 1 spoon of coffee and 1 heap spoon of sugar.
Yeah, you won't get much coffee. It's going to be a bit weak.
There's some more. There's another pot in there. Yeah, there's tons of coffee done. And there's lots of ground. Tea boy's back today. Oh, thank you, V. Thank you. So I've got some quite nice colours. Really love that orangey blood and that minty green. That was turquoisey green. Billy, I think, goes well with lots of them. I'm probably going to have a bit of a play with complementary colours because we can't not do complementary colours. So what I found by accident again, to wipe the ceramic plate with a damp baby wipe and then the colours run. And you can see them actually spreading. And this is how you're supposed to use them on watercolour paper with water. You see it running? This is what it does. You flick them, you squirt them, you blow with straws to make abstract things. But I want to kind of really get some good things out of these. So I'm going to do this little one here. So I've got this yellow. And it's quite a nondescript yellow, really. And then I'm going to touch the purple. But I touched the purple when I had yellow on the brush. So I had a dull purple, because remember, complementary colours. So I've got this purple somewhere else. And if we put them together, we're going to get... Now that's almost yellow ochre, so bear with me. So let's put some more purple out. So we've got purple here. This is the one that floods. If you tap, you get a little dot. And then this one is called Fingers. Actually, it's Fingers Green. So it's a green, but it's the very palest of a yellow green. It's a yellow green. So let's put that brush because it's getting a bit damaged. Right. So I've got a bit of purple with this green. I think that's almost yellow ochre. Now it looks brighter than it is, but that's almost yellow ochre. Oh, sorry, that's bungle. So I'm just going to colour this in. Sorry, it's flashed out a bit. I'm just going to colour around these butterflies. And again, I might find another colour that will go next to another colour that I like. So I'm going to try yellow this time. I picked out the wrong one. It's a very light green is this one. It's a yellow green. So you would have your greens and your yellow. This will be right there. So the next colour would be pure yellow. It's a very, 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 very light green. I don't know why they call it green. But because it's ink, I can show you a bright yellow. And this is almost your printer yellow. And then we'll put purple. So we now have two. I don't want to flood it really, if I can help it. Because I don't want to mess about doing this, I want to do this. But if I flood it, I can't waste the paint. So this now is a brighter yellow. So we've got quite a bright yellow there. And now we mix these two together. We've got quite a dull one of it. If I get more yellow, yeah. Got a nice dull paper. So you've got some really vivid colours. So it's the green. You've got a bit more blue in that green yellow. So you've got blue in the purple and you've got blue in the green. And so that's where you get your yellow ochre from. But again, really soft, very soft pastel colours. We'll just do orange, oops, orange and blue. And orange and blue, and we'll have a red. And green with envy. Got quite a few pens out there. The bungle will probably end up. These don't roll away because they've got very, very big clips, so they won't roll. They won't roll away, which is quite nice. So I'll wipe that again and pop that on there. So we'll do this really quickly. Thank you, Diane. So that was Clockwork, and this one is, oops, you see how they run? That's more of a turquoisey blue, actually. I thought I had a darker blue than that. Oh, I have a darker blue than that. This one is called Paradise. So I'm going to put blue on the other side of that one. It still looks greeny blue, but it is blue. So we've got this blue on this butterfly. And I will clean my brush for this because I just want to see if it's nice, and then mix those two together to get a lovely green and some soft colours as well. And I used the wrong, that was a greeny blue, this is a bluey blue for Blue Paradise. So I'll pick another butterfly. And then we'll pick some blue up. That's So again, you've got two different variations. And then of course when we put those together, we've got a beautiful traditional grass green. So again, to get grass green, we want a nice blue, but you want an orange blue. You want a cadmium yellow. You want a colder blue. If you put orange to French ultramarine, you'll get an olive colour. So the next two is red and green. So we'll just do this one and then just take this colour and kind of manoeuvre it around. And again, we've got some very soft greens. Really soft pale greens. So it's good to know how to get your pale colours. Oh, hi Suzanne, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Oopsie, Bungle, no, Bungle, get down. Bungle, get down. Oh, we had a naughty Alfie in here. And he's so naughty to Bungle. And he ruined a video yesterday because he bit his tail. he only nipped it, but he did go for his tail. So I'm just going to do these butterflies down here. So I'm going to do, I did red and green. I think I've done a purple and yellow. I've done a purple, yellow, red and green. So I'll pan out and you can see how much waste I've used. Bungle, no! Oh, it's just, I'll have to just do this really quickly and then drink my coffee. So we've got some really nice, I've had to bring the boy because, there, sit there a minute. So we've got some gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous inky colours to do Inky and the Butterfly, and I haven't mixed any colours either. Now the only other thing you can do is, and I've wasted, that was because I wiped the pen, and so that's all I've wasted, and the waters are still all completely clean. All the waters are as they were. There's the tiniest bit in that one, that's all. So again, as a tight Yorkshire lass, I like the fact that I'm not wasting them. So that's my Derwent Graphik liner pens used as a very soft inky watercolour. Thanks for watching.